Modern games are getting insane, and these ones push realism to a whole new level. We're talking next-gen visuals, brutal detail, and performance so intense it'll push your PS5 to its absolute limit. Here are ultra-realistic games that will destroy your PS5. Onimusha Way of the Sword looks like the kind of next-gen game that might actually push your PS5 hard. Capcom is bringing back this classic samurai action series for the first time in nearly 20 years, with a fresh story, stunning visuals, and brutal swordplay. Set in a twisted version of Edo-era Kyoto, you follow a samurai named Musashi, armed with the mystical Oni Gauntlet, as he battles supervillains known as the Genma. One thing people are talking about is how the RE engine's lighting, particle effects, and detailed environments make Kyoto feel alive. The game plays from a third-person perspective with combat that's precise and agile. You'll swing your sword, parry, dodge, and use the mystical Oni Gauntlet to absorb enemy souls for power and health. Every clash feels weighty because animations, impact effects, and enemy reactions are all built to take advantage of next-gen hardware.
Am I dead?
Oh, yes. So, this gauntlet is for you. You pop this on, you get the power of the Oni, and you'll be back topside.
I walk the path of the sword on my strength alone. I don't need some monster's power.
The power of the Oni is all that's sustaining your life. That's an Oni gauntlet.
Musashi!
Gun me!
This thing's made me so damn strong.
Musashi, save this world. I cannot apologize enough for dragging you down this path against your will.
If I take this gauntlet off, I'll be a bloody mess on the floor anyway.
This isn't what you promised, Gauntlet.
You have a void. It thirsts for excruciating pleasure. The very thing she is hellbound. Follow her, for we have such sights to show you.
Hellraiser Revival puts you straight into the dark world of the Hellraiser universe, where strange, supernatural forces are everywhere. The story follows a man trying to rescue his girlfriend after she's pulled into a nightmare dimension by a mysterious puzzle box. From the start, you can tell this isn't a typical haunted house horror game. Gameplay combines first-person survival horror with action elements. You'll use both conventional weapons and dark powers unlocked through the box, which can do things that feel supernatural, bending reality in strange ways during combat and exploration. The enemy design is grotesque and varied, from cult worshippers to fully otherworldly monsters that feel unpredictable and threatening. Hellraiser feels like a horror game that focuses on tension and a dark story, making it a unique experience compared to most survival horror titles.
Is anyone there?
Jurassic Park Survival is shaping up to be one of those ultra-realistic games that could seriously push your PS5, especially with how it brings Isla Nublar to life in first person. You step into the shoes of Dr. Maya Joshi, an InGen scientist who couldn't escape the island after the events of the original Jurassic Park. And your goal is to stay alive long enough to escape dangerous territory filled with predators and other threats. What's impressive so far is how the game blends first-person action, stealth, and survival mechanics in a dense, fully realized island setting, all presented with detailed environments that aim for cinematic realism. Because the world reacts to your presence and dinosaurs behave with adaptive intelligence, it's not just about scripted moments. You have to think on your feet, use distractions, and choose your path carefully. The Witcher 4 takes everything people loved about the Witcher series and aims to push it way further. This time, the focus shifts to Ciri, stepping fully into the role of a Witcher in a world that looks bigger, denser, and more detailed than anything CD Projekt Red has done before. Built with Unreal Engine 5, the game is aiming for extremely realistic environments, from massive forests and mountains to detailed towns filled with NPCs that feel alive. Gameplay-wise, it looks like a mix of fast sword combat, magic abilities, and open-world exploration on a much larger scale. Expect monster hunts, story-driven quests, and huge areas that encourage wandering off the main path. The world isn't just big, it's meant to react to what you do. The Witcher 4 feels like the kind of game built to show what modern hardware can really handle, between the visuals, scale, and systems running at the same time.
Grace! Grace!
Welcome. Dr. Gideon has been expecting you.
You there, Leon?
Yeah.
Hey, over here.
FBI. What are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.
Resident Evil Requiem is one of the most technically intense survival horror games ever made. Scheduled for release on February 27th, this is the 9th mainline entry in the flagship survival horror franchise. What's really cool is how two very different gameplay styles are packed into one title. You switch between Grace Ashcroft, whose sections lean into classic survival horror with stealth, limited resources, and tension-filled narrow corridors, and Leon Kennedy, who brings more action and refined combat with guns, melee, and even a hatchet. Combat doesn't just look real, it feels real. Leon's fights mix precise aiming, parrying with a hatchet, grabbing improvised weapons like chainsaws, and dynamic encounters that keep your adrenaline up. Grace's segments, on the other hand, are about survival instincts under pressure, evasion, scarce ammo, and environment-driven horror that keeps you alert. 007 First Light takes a very different approach compared to most cinematic action games. This one focuses on what it really means to be James Bond at the start of his career. You're dealing with espionage first, gathering intel, and making smart decisions before things ever turn violent. What really sells this game is how grounded and realistic everything looks. Environments are packed with detail, from luxury interiors to crowded public spaces where NPCs react naturally to your presence. Facial animations and reflections are all pushed hard, giving scenes a film-quality look that clearly leans on next-gen hardware. You're not meant to shoot your way through every situation. Sometimes it's about staying unnoticed, using tools, or manipulating the environment to your advantage. When combat does break out, it's fast and cinematic, with smooth transitions that make everything feel seamless.
Any sage advice?
Too nice?
Always.
Exodus is all about scale and detail working together. This isn't a tight hallway shooter or a small open map. It's a massive sci-fi RPG where humanity is scattered across hostile star systems, and every planet feels built to overwhelm you with size, depth, and atmosphere. Gameplay blends third-person shooting with RPG system. You're using futuristic weapons, abilities, and gear while making story choices that can change how events play out over time. Combat looks intense, but it's the constant loading of big environments, physics, and visual effects all at once that really shows how demanding this game is. Exodus feels like the kind of project that exists to push consoles hard. Huge areas, detailed characters, and complex systems running together make it the type of game that can seriously test what a PS5 can handle.
Child of Orion, fulfill the purpose for which you were crafted, and seize your destiny.
Our world is dying. You are the only one who can wield celestial tech and find a cure.
We are the defenders of Leiden's future. And we will fight to protect it.
The fight for survival has consequences. How far are you willing to venture?
Ill is a first-person survival horror experience set in a world where nightmares blend into reality. From early posts by the developer, the game promises a tense, atmospheric journey, full of unpredictable dangers and phobia-triggering environments. What really sets Ill apart is how much focus it puts on physical detail. Enemies react to damage in brutal ways, bodies deform, limbs break, and animations don't loop cleanly like most games. That level of detail makes every encounter feel chaotic and unpredictable. And it's exactly the kind of thing that pushes the PS5 hard, especially with Unreal Engine 5 lighting and physics running at the same time. Gameplay leans heavily into exploration, survival, and psychological tension. Instead of giving you steady combat, Ill focuses on fear of the unknown. Enemies are unpredictable, and environmental effects change how you perceive danger. Tides of Annihilation stands out because of how hard it leans into scale and spectacle. The game drops you into a broken version of modern London, where reality has collapsed and massive otherworldly forces are tearing the city apart. You're fighting huge enemies while summoning spectral knights to attack alongside you. The screen fills up fast with effects, particles, and motion, but it all still looks clean and sharp. Environmental damage are doing a lot of work at the same time, which is exactly the kind of load next-gen hardware gets stressed by. Gameplay mixes fast melee combat with strategy. You're not just swinging a weapon. You're choosing which knights to summon, timing abilities, and managing space during fights that can get overwhelming quickly. Battles feel cinematic but still under your control, which keeps things intense instead of messy.
Holy Grail. Blood. This is a feast only for the king.
Gwendolyn, this is your final warning.
My quarrel lies not with you, but I will take back everything that belongs to me. Even if the price is my soul.
Retrieval focuses on one thing, putting you in a bad situation and not letting you feel safe for a second. The game takes place in a ruined sci-fi facility where a rescue mission has clearly gone wrong. You're not there to explore for fun, you're there to find out what happened and get out alive. Gameplay mixes slow, careful movement with sudden moments of chaos. Ammo and resources are limited, so you're constantly deciding whether to fight, hide, or back off. Enemies don't just rush you mindlessly either. They move unpredictably, forcing you to stay alert and react fast. What makes Retrieval feel heavy on the hardware is how close everything is. Tight corridors, dark interiors, and highly detailed environments push lighting and shadows hard. The game combined with high-end visuals and effects makes it exactly the kind of game that looks incredible on a PS5.
Please don't leave me! What the fuck are you doing to them? They're starting to shake! Get the fuck out of here!
All this to start our new life.
Marvel's Wolverine doesn't feel like a typical superhero game. Instead, it focuses on one thing that really matters here: raw, close-up combat that feels brutal and personal. This is Wolverine at ground level, where every hit, every movement, and every mistake feels heavy. The realism comes through in how combat is designed. Wolverine fights up close, tearing through enemies in tight spaces where animations and environmental damage all happen at once. Claws don't just swipe through air, they cut through bodies and objects, with enemies reacting differently depending on where they're hit. That level of detail adds a lot of strain to the visuals and physics running in real time. This game designed to show how realistic a superhero experience can be. Between the heavy melee combat and high-end visuals running non-stop, it's exactly the kind of title that looks amazing on a PS5.
I'd like to say I'm not a violent man. The trouble just has a way of finding me. But I'd be lying. Doesn't matter where I go. How far I run.
Up you go! Sorry, kiddo. We've still got a ways to go.
Pragmata drops you into a bleak, hyper-detailed future that blurs the line between cinematic storytelling and gameplay. The game drops you into a quiet, abandoned sci-fi world where technology has clearly gone wrong. You're not thrown into non-stop action. Instead, the game lets the mystery do the talking. Gameplay mixes exploration and combat with a strong focus on working together. You're not just running around shooting and dodging, you have a young girl companion with you, and she actively interacts with the world during gameplay. Instead of a typical fantasy or monster setting, Pragmata blends sci-fi elements with grounded realism. From the way characters' faces animate to how fabrics, dirt, and debris move in the wind, the attention to detail across environments and models is insane. That level of real-time rendering pushes the PS5's GPU and memory hard. Blood Message focuses on a long, dangerous journey where survival matters just as much as reaching the destination. The game follows a lone messenger traveling with his child across hostile territory, and that setup shapes how the game actually plays. Gameplay blends melee combat, stealth, and survival mechanics. You won't be fighting non-stop. Sometimes it's better to sneak past enemies, use the environment for cover, or avoid conflict entirely. Combat feels deliberate, with limited stamina and positioning playing a big role, so every encounter forces you to slow down and think. It's not just about visuals or action, but about managing danger and emotional pressure at the same time. That combination of features makes it feel like a focused, meaningful experience, rather than just another action game.
Anya.
Crimson Desert is built around freedom and scale. You're dropped into a massive open world where you're not just following quests, but reacting to what's happening around you. The story follows Cliff, a mercenary caught in large-scale conflicts. What makes this one stand out is how many different gameplay layers are packed under its world. Combat blends fast melee attacks, dodging, and powerful abilities, letting you string together combos with swords, bows, and magic-like skills. You're also expected to mix in tactical movement, mounted combat, and boss fights, so battles always feel dynamic and demanding. Crimson Desert also mixes single-player storytelling with sandbox gameplay. You can focus on the main narrative, or spend hours doing side activities, exploring ruins or jumping into unexpected fights. That mix of structured story and open-ended play is what makes the game stand out.
Fight! Fight for Pywell!
Your fight is not for revenge, nor glory, nor pride.
This is your hell!
Remember who you are, and let it guide your path. For at the end of it, you will find the answers you seek.
Black State throws a clever twist into the action-adventure shooter template with one mechanic that immediately grabs attention: real-time portal doors. Instead of classic level loading, you open a door and instantly drop into a totally new area. Gameplay blends stealth and upfront combat in a way that feels tactical and deliberate. You'll sneak through bases, take out enemies quietly, or dive straight into chaotic gunfights depending on how you handle each situation. Weapons range from pistols and rifles to shotguns and experimental gear, and tactical gadgets give you options for stealth takedowns or chaos-oriented play. Boss fights are another highlight, each with unique patterns and mechanics that force you to think on your feet. You can't just spray bullets and win. You need to learn attack rhythms, exploit weaknesses, and use your full arsenal strategically. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis brings Lara Croft back to what she does best, exploring dangerous ruins and chasing a mystery that feels bigger than her. This time, the story digs into ancient myths tied to Atlantis, sending Lara across different locations filled with traps, puzzles, and places that clearly don't want to be discovered. Combat has been modernized too. Instead of basic shooting or limited melee, there's now a richer mix of acrobatics, cover use, and context-sensitive takedowns. Another cool feature is how the game expands on the original storytelling without straying from its roots. There's a stronger narrative thread tying together each region you visit, characters you meet, and the mystery behind the Scion. It gives the game a more cinematic feeling while staying true to the classic mix of archaeology and danger that made Tomb Raider iconic.
I didn't know then the path this adventure would send me on. But it lit a fire that still burns. I need to see more. I need to go further. To uncover the secrets of Atlantis.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious open-world games ever made. And not just because it's huge. The way the world behaves could completely redefine how realistic a game can feel. Instead of simple NPC crowds and trigger-based reactions, GTA 6 promises a living, reactive world where people, law enforcement, and environments respond dynamically to what you do. One of the standout features is the dual protagonist system, letting you switch between two characters, each with their own skills and story threads. That opens up new ways to approach missions, heists, and free roam events, giving the city a story-driven feel without locking you into the same routine every time. All of that adds up to a world that feels alive, unpredictable, and incredibly detailed. A true evolution in open-world design that lives up to its hype.